Hey there, Otaku! Are you into retro gaming? Are you into modern gaming? Are you into video gaming? Go Mega Otaku Gamer Alpha has new episodes, most Sundays, right here on this channel. Check them out. Hey there, Otaku! Ken-chan back with another episode of Go Mega Otaku Gamer Alpha. Now, in today's gaming world, you see smartphones and tablets bursting onto the scene and eating into the market share of the hardcore gaming market with their smaller, cheaper, and even free games. It looks like that those kinds of platforms are to be taken seriously these days. They're really moving into the market. They're really starting to get some serious foothold. Now they are taken seriously, but there was a time about 10 years ago where nobody could have imagined something like a cell phone becoming a serious gaming platform. Today we're going to have a look at a cell phone. A cell phone that's 10 years old. Came out 10 years ago. Today we're looking at the Nokia N-Gage. Now, the Nokia N-Gage was a mobile telephone and handheld game system by Nokia, based on the Nokia Series 60 platform, and it was released on October 7th, 2003. It was considered a 6th generation era device, and as of July 30th, 2007, they had only sold 3 million units. And it was actually redesigned in 2004. Just a few months later, it was in May, October to May. What's that? Do the math. That's how quickly they redesigned it, because the original device loaded its little cards, its little cartridge type cards, its game cards, into the back. You had to take the thing apart. That's kind of inefficient, kind of ridiculous. So they went ahead and went with a more well, what ended up being more like a DS, or nowadays you have the PlayStation Vita. Thanks, Sony, for finally getting around to figuring that out. They went with a kind of an interface like that for the game cards. Yeah, the CPU was an ARM9E. Storage capacity was 3.4 megabytes of internal memory, and that was the first generation N-Gage. They attempted to lure gamers away from the Game Boy Advance by including cell phone functionality, which was unsuccessful because the buttons were designed for a phone, not for gaming. And the original N-Gage was referred to as a taco, or the taco, because it was shaped like a taco. The N-Gage QD, which is the one we're going to be looking at, was a little bit more rounded. It was a redesign, a little bit more efficient. And, of course, the games on this system are very difficult to play because, again, of the controls. The controls were really bad. But it's still a unique device, and they're kind of rare. So let's go ahead and take a look at this device, and then we'll look at some of the games. Now here we have the Nokia N-Gage QD, and it's a phone, and you have your earphone here, and somewhere around in here is where you talk into. Hard to see a hole there. You probably can't even see it because I can't even see it, but the idea was you held it like this to talk. Hello? Hello? Okay, so that was what that was. But you know, you have your rocker switch here, directional pad, check mark, which, you know, for selecting. Not sure what this does. Not sure really what many of these buttons do, because I don't use the phone part. This, I guess connects your call, and this ends it over here like a cell phone. Here's your dialing numbers here. The power button for the thing is actually, I don't know if you can see this, right there. Well, it looks like a little circle with a line through it indicating power. You can push that in and hold that down, and that turns it on or off. The cartridge bay is down here. And there's a smaller slot here, but then there's a bigger slot right there that the cartridge goes in, and then this rubber thing supposedly goes back in there. It doesn't fit in here so well. Not a very well designed thing at all. The other thing that was flawed with the design is the screen is taller than it is wide. One of the games they had for this early on was Tomb Raider, and it made for a horrible Tomb Raider experience. It really did. The back of the thing, of course, is pretty standard and generic. Pretty solidly built for the most part. I wouldn't, you know, think that it would, that it's real cheap or plasticky. This one here is actually kind of rubbery. It's got rubber all over it. I mean, it's just, the whole thing's rubber. But except this part here and the very back of it right here is solid, but the rest of it's kind of rubbery. And of course, you use certain buttons here for control. Most games tell you which buttons that you use for control, or at least some of the games do. You kind of got to figure it out. There's a lot left to figure out on your own. Some of the features, let's see if we can go to some of that. Let's see here. They have contacts, and they have internet. This had a very rudimentary, second generation, whatever you want to call it, browser. I think it might even have been an Opera browser that was on here. And then here's some of the menu. You got your Bluetooth, messaging, clock, extras, tools, files, and it says agile mess. I guess it's a message thing too. And that's, here's some other. This is within the tools folder here. You got telephone, gaming manager, forward, profiles, settings, a log, voicemail, things like that. Your typical second generation cell phone features that you would find on something like a cell phone. So anyway, that's the design of the unit. Let's have a look at some of the games, and I want to do a little bit of a comparison on the game cards and give you an idea kind of what those are like compared to something like modern game cards. Okay, so let's have a little comparison here. We're going to look at, this is a Nokia N-Gage game here. This is MotoGP. And it's just a tiny little waffle-thin of an after-dinner mint. Let's compare this to, say, something like, this is a DS card here. And you'll see or notice that the DS card is actually larger and chumpier than this tiny little Nokia N-Gage game here. Okay, to give you an idea. So, they were kind of on the right track. It's not that, they were on the right track. It's not that this was a bad design for a game like this, considering that handhelds, even today, this is Unit 13 for the Vita. Okay, and you see that the Vita is just a little smaller. Maybe it's just a little thicker. The Vita game might be a little bit thicker this way, maybe just ever so slightly. But not a bad design, really. As far as the way these modern machines go, this kind of thing isn't that bad of a design. What hampered it was people weren't used to this kind of thing for something like a cell phone. Nobody really got that yet at that point. And even today, with the smartphones the way they are today, you download the games. You don't put something like this in a cell phone. It's a double standard, I realize. It's okay to put something like this in, say, something like a 3DS or a Vita, but you don't want to waste your time on a cell phone putting something like this in. And of course these games were the $30, $40 range type games. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this in here, and that amounts to opening up the little rubber flapper, and you put it in. Here's the back of the thing. You put it in like this. This device, by the way, retailed originally for $2.99, which is kind of a bit much. It went to $99 not that much longer after that, and they even had a prepaid tier for this. Now you'll see or notice the graphics on this aren't that bad. This certainly doesn't lack in graphics, but as you'll see shortly here, and remember, I'm not some kind of spaz when it comes to playing video games. A little bit hampered because I'm looking through a camera to do this. Bear that in mind also. But as I sit and try to play it without the camera, even just looking straight into the thing, it's still quite spastic. Okay, we're going to push 5 to start. And we're just going to go ahead and do it here. Single race. Yes. Good enough. Good enough. We're going to race in Japan. Yeah, how about that? Alright, that should be loading in then. And this is MotoGP. Whoa, dog. Your fingers slip off the buttons too, because the buttons are so small. Going all over the place here. Into the grass, into the wall. The guy just passed me. You know, the slightest button push sends you flying all over the screen. I don't even know if I'll even make one lap on this game. A little bit, as I said, a little bit easier to do if I'm not looking through a camera to do it. But not much. Not really that much. I'm in the grass again. The music's kind of cool. Oh my God. You're thinking, wow, this is really this bad? Yeah, it's this bad. You almost have to, like, barely put on the gas at all just to be able to steer the thing. Okay, anyway, you get the idea. MotoGP, note to self, not very good on the Nokia N-Gage. Bam! Right into the wall, you dumb freak. This is the King of Fighters Extreme, key 5. Let's see if this handles any better. We'll just go ahead and start this. We'll say, whoops. Kyo, Terry, Leona. Where's my girls? We'll just pick a girl. Here's Yuri, we'll use her. And this and this. And you get 3 of them, so whatever. Then you pick your order. I believe what you have here is 4, 5, and 6 are your punches, and your kicks are 7, 8, 9. This is a little bit better than the MotoGP. Again, the graphics, there's nothing wrong with the graphics on this. Although the response time on this is a little slow. I don't like it. It's like you push a button and you wait like a millisecond, and then it actually... Clumsy. Loser. And of course there's all these loading times with these cards, and I'm not sure what that's about. Okay, come on. Come on. Using the big guy. Oh, I win. I don't believe it. So you lose some, you win some. Okay, and that's King of Fighters. Extreme. Okay, we're going to look at Tomb Raider now. We're going to go ahead and start that game. It really doesn't matter if I had a game loaded or not. Let's go to the caves. I don't want to go to Laura's home. Well, I do, but not for gaming. You'll see what I mean here about this screen being taller than it is wide, and how that messes with the whole Tomb Raider mechanics altogether. And the control on this is also just horrible. Okay. And they have this intro here that's similar but not the same as the disc-based games that the disc-based systems had for Tomb Raider. We'll press 5 and get through that. Yes, Lara Croft has blah blah blah. Okay, let's blah blah blah. Alright, now right away. Okay, you're gonna turn. There's your jump. There's your flip around the other way thingy. Where's your guns? It scrolls to the side. Here's your inventory. Come on, pull out, whip them out. Yank them out. Where are we here? There's some guns. And how do you shoot those guns? Oh, I put them away again. It takes a little while just to be able to do this. There it is. So 4 fires the guns. 5 is the jump. 8 is put the guns away, get the guns back out. Well, let's see if there's anything to shoot at in here. Anywhere. Okay, and this game is just horribly clumsy. For example, I'll show you. I'm running and I let go. And see, she keeps running. Running, watch this. Wait, she's up against something maybe? Running, and I let go, and she keeps running. See that? That's what I mean by poor controls. That kind of crap. And I'm not even sure where to go here. And I've, played the original Tomb Raider. If you try to turn around, even, it's very difficult. Movement on this game is just so horribly difficult. There's a bunch of arrows shooting at me there. That part. Maybe back in here. Something. Oh my god, all over the place. Swinging all over the place. And I let go. Okay, that she stopped there. Come on, face that way and go that. Oh my God. Unbelievably bad. Oh, jeez. Alright, so you get the idea. This is supposed to be Tomb Raider. Not a very good transition of it. Very clumsy to control. You know, as far as what button does what, you got to sit there and fart around with it to figure that out. She continues to run after you let go of the button. Just, you know, bad design. Bad design. Okay, we're going to look at Bomberman now. And this is a simpler game. So, let's have a look at this and see. Okay. Typical Bomberman fare. You plant the explosive and then you open up the walls. And for something like this, actually, to be quite honest, this actually works quite well for something like this. This system would have done well to focus more on these simpler games like this, rather than trying to do games like Tomb Raider poorly. If they could have done simpler games like this and done them well, rather than trying to dive into like things like Tomb Raider, they probably would have done a little better. They probably would have done, you know, been a little bit better off. But that's not the approach that they took. This is a quite effective version of Bomberman. There's no precision controls really required for this. You could do this on anything if you wanted to. Oop. That killed me. But anyhow, you get the idea of this. This kind of thing, okay, thumbs up. Things like the MotoGP and the Tomb Raider, thumbs down. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Handheld gaming experience is different from console gaming experience. For them to try to force hardcore games, to force these, you know, bigger name, bigger budget type games onto something like this, you know, it's like trying to force a round peg into a square hole. It's not going to work. One of the only cool things about the Nokia N-Gage and the games is each game comes with a container like this for one game. Now, it comes in the container, in the box that it comes in like this. The boxes are similar to like what you find in like a 3DS or a DS type container. But you could put 4 games in one of these things. So you can carry around 4. I got 8 of them here. And then 1 in here. And with just this much, you know, plastic, you're carrying around 9 games, just like that. So that in itself is probably, if not the only cool thing, certainly one of the cool things about it. Can't think of too much else, though. As a collectible, the Nokia N-Gage, you know, is a good find. It's a good thing to have in your collection if you are a serious hardcore collector. As far as a viable game system that you actually want to take with you someplace and actually sit around and play, no. It's not a very playable system at all. It's more of a novelty thing that you have in your collection because it is so bad. You know, how many people have Fight for Life for the Atari Jaguar? Not many. Only the most hardcore collectors. Why? Because the game is so horrible, you just gotta have it. Or Rise of the Robots for the Super NES. How many people have that? Not many. You know, again, you have it in your collection if you're a hardcore collector because it is so bad. You know, you want to look back at video gaming history and take the bad with the good. I wouldn't recommend this game system to anyone except the most hardcore collectors. that maybe came into one that was cheap, came into a bunch of games that were cheap, and got a really serious good deal on it. If you get a good deal, it's worth picking up to have it as a cute little gaming knick-knack. Bit of gaming history there. An interesting but feeble attempt by Nokia to try to capture some of the the handheld market. Horrible failure. Didn't make Nintendo even wince a little bit with their their Game Boy Advance at the time, and some of the other things that were coming out. Sony, it was known by that point that Sony was going to come out with a handheld device, the PSP. The PSP, of course, was the only machine to ever give Nintendo a run for their money with their handheld, their dominance of the handheld market. But the Nokia N-Gage wasn't even close. A little while later, Nokia came out with like an N-Gage, I think it was an app or some kind of service that they had for smartphones. You could download some of their games and stuff like that, but that quickly died too. I'm not sure why that would have died if they would have made the controls a little bit better, but it just doesn't seem to me like they really had anything going for them at any point during the history of the Nokia, the short history of the Nokia N-Gage. So hardcore collectors that gotta have it all, pick it up if you can get it cheap. More casual collectors that that just kind of like skim the surface and they want the best or the better games, that kind of thing, or just a more general selection of games and systems, maybe you want to steer away from this one. And it's the Nokia N-Gage, and in this case it's the Nokia N-Gage QD. We'll see you next time.